Welcome to Redtastic Stories. Story 1. So, my mom and dad divorced when I was a baby, and I have no real memory of them together. My mom remarried. My stepdad had 3 girls of his own, 10, 7, and 5. My mom had full custody of me, and I visited my dad often while my stepdad had full custody of his daughters. But they visited their mom a lot too, but never for more like 2-3 days. I know that every family has sibling struggles, but add on the fact I didn't look like them. I was an only child while they weren't, and just the fact that I plain and simple didn't get along with them just made everything bad. Our parents tried to mediate as much as they could, and to their credit, it did stop. But the underlying issues were that we all didn't like each other, and how I, or them for that matter, have never called each other sisters, or family, or any of that, and probably never will. I'm currently 24 and live with my roommate while my stepsisters live with their dad at home. Except the stepsister who is my age. She has a young kid who I think turned 2. She lives near me and recently called me to ask if I could look after her son while she goes to the doctor's for her physical therapy session. I have met the kid like twice and haven't seen her since Thanksgiving and didn't really want to look after the kid. I told her to just go to one of her sisters or dad. They live close to, just a little longer drive. She said she needed me to do this and how I need to get over the past between us because her kid hasn't done anything. I could just tell she was trying to guilt trip me, and I just told her to ask one of her real sisters and hung up. My roommate who was in the same room told me that I'm being kind of melodramatic and should have just watched the kid. She said she would have helped too. Am I the a-hole? Not the a-hole, OP. You two are more or less strangers. I don't understand why she would even want you to watch her kid. Her trying to say the past is the past but probably still doesn't contact you or deal with you on a regular basis is just silly. She only contacted you to use you for free childcare. She could have definitely asked her sisters or father to watch him, but she probably tried to put you on the list because you're closer to her. Good that you nipped it in the bud because chances are she would have tried to make this a regular thing since you live close by, and just because you offer free childcare doesn't mean she automatically is more open to you. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Why would you want to watch a child you have only met twice? I get that she wanted your help on short notice, but she could have reached out and explained why she needed your help on such short notice. Instead of going, I have therapy. Can you watch the child? I believe that any reasonable person would ask for a favor if they were desperate, along with an incentive to watch the child. You have no contact with her except for holidays and when she needs last-second childcare. So she only wanted to pull the family card when she needed something. Not the a-hole. Yes, it would have been a nice thing to do to help her out. But since there's no relationship and she tried pulling the guilt or bully card, she can sort out her own childcare. Not the a-hole. You're not obligated to babysit a virtual stranger's child. Your parents chose to marry their parents. It didn't click between you all and she's still a stranger who coincidentally grew up with you. Entitled beggars will always end up being worse because if something happens to her child in your care, you know she will endlessly bring it up and blame you. Don't invite that in. Story 2. So I, 19 female, and my cousin, 22 male, were hanging out last Friday. We were just chatting away while eating some nachos. I bring up how you can fit a light bulb into your mouth, but you can't take it out. He says, huh? And we continue talking. Well, I guess he didn't believe me because he tried it Tuesday night. From what I could gather from his story, he started yelling and his mother, my aunt, female 64, came upstairs to check on him. When she saw that there wasn't a way to get it out, she took him to the ER. I'm not sure how, but they removed it without hurting him. He called me up yesterday and said he was pissed. He said if I didn't say anything, then he wouldn't have tried it. I thought that was total BS and started arguing back that he made a stupid decision and that wasn't on me. Well, my aunt was in the same room and he gave her the phone to talk to me. She explained that it might have been his decision, but I still opened the door for it to happen. She compared it to someone leaving a drug on the counter and how it's both the person who laid the drug down and the person who used it. The analogy made sense, and I feel really guilty now. However, I'm still torn on whether I'm the a-hole or not. I feel like I'm just being stubborn, and I'm not really sure what to think. Any judgment would be greatly appreciated. Not the a-hole, OP. Your aunt's analogy is the dumbest one I've ever heard. You leave drugs on the counter and someone takes it. It's still 100% their fault. If they were a child, it would be different, but we're talking about a 22-year-old. He needs to grow up. You didn't force him to do the stupid thing. You just mentioned a cool fact. If you had neglected to mention an inability to get it back out, you would have been. But as you didn't, this is all him. Now for some comments. Not the a-hole. Sorry, but this post made me laugh hard. He's a grown-ass man. I was half expecting you to tell me it was a cousin under 10. Don't feel bad just because your cousin is an idiot, and his mom thinks the sun shines out his arse. Next time it's brought up, say, if I told you it's impossible to survive jumping out of an airplane at 1,000 meters in the air without a parachute, would you jump out of a plane to try to prove me wrong? He would likely try to make out it's not the same, but the principle is, and that will be why he'll say that. You told him this was a bad idea. He decided he knew better than you and did it anyway. If a grown man can't resist the siren call of putting a light bulb in mouth, that's on him. The drug analogy is actually hilarious because unless you're talking about a house with small children, using drugs that belong to someone else is actually called stealing. So either the analogy falls apart or you mistyped his age. Not the a-hole. The entire existence of this kind of semi-viral trend sucks. But you talking about it in a way that points out that it's a bad idea doesn't really make you any kind of a-hole. Not the a-hole. Your cousin is a fool lacking the ability to think through his own actions. My question is, how is he still alive? Better not tell him that humans can't breathe underwater or not to drink bleach or cleaning solutions, because they will kill him. Is he just a mama's boy who can't take responsibility for his own actions? You are not the a-hole for sharing an interesting fact. You didn't issue a challenge, he just decided you were a liar and he wanted to prove you wrong. Serious question, is your cousin developmentally challenged in some way? That might explain why a 22-year-old would do something so poorly considered and why his mom was so upset. Even if that's the case, I still vote not the a-hole. Story 3. I got married to my husband 4 months ago. I have a 5-year-old son from my previous marriage and my husband adores him. We were out at the dinner last night and I asked my husband for his phone to check payment options for our meal. I unlocked the screen and saw my son's picture set as the home screen wallpaper. I asked my husband how long it's been there and he said 2 months. I got upset and pointed out that it was not wise of him to use a picture of my son as his home screen wallpaper for strangers to see. He said pretty much almost no one touches his phone, so I shouldn't worry about my son's pictures seen by strangers. I told him they don't have to touch his phone to see his iPhone home screen. He said I should relax because it's not like he posted it on social media. And besides that, he only used my son's picture as his home screen wallpaper to be able to look at him all the time, because he misses him when he's at work. I demanded he remove it, but he said no. I insisted and an argument ensued to the point where I got up, paid my part of the bill, then walked out of the restaurant. He decided to stay at a hotel because he was overwhelmed and texted me about how deeply I hurt him, and told me he removed the picture entirely from his phone if that would make me happy. Then went on to say I overreacted, and by the looks of it, he's expecting an apology from me after what happened. Was I the a-hole or was he? Now for some comments. I would be very upset with you about this if I were him. I don't understand this. Like, yes, someone might see a picture of your son, but they might also see your son's face when he's out and about. Do you put a paper bag over your son's face whenever they are out in public? I get not wanting to post the picture on social media to limit the wide exposure of your son's picture to people you don't know. But a phone background is limited exposure and in my mind no different than your son being seen in public anywhere else. You're the a-hole. You're the a-hole. My mouth kept on opening wider and wider as I read this post. You owe him a huge apology. You're being extremely paranoid that someone is going to see a picture of your child. You don't want strangers to see your son. Doesn't your son ever go out in public? If yes, then strangers see your son all the time. If no, then you should be reported to child protection and be ordered to go for psych evaluation. You are blessed to have a husband who adores your son and actually has a photo of him on his phone. He considers your son as his son as well. You're the a-hole. What's actually wrong with you? It's his home screen. He's not posting it. He treats your son like his. That's his stepson. You married this man and now he takes on the responsibility of being a parent. You need to apologize to him and leave him alone about this. You created a problem over nothing. That man loves your son. He has him as a screensaver to look at your son every day because he loves him. No offense, but you're weird for this. If you didn't want someone to treat your son like a father, you shouldn't have gotten married.